Welcome to the Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs podcast, a place for podcasters to learn what's actually working in the world of podcasting and how to use their podcast to generate consistent leads in their business. I'm your host, Jenny, and I'm so excited you're here. Hey, Savvies, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. In today's episode, we're chatting all about how to incorporate your podcast into your upcoming product or service launch. I feel like sometimes we forget that our podcast is a part of our marketing funnel, so it can be kind of easy to leave your podcast out of the equation when you're preparing for your upcoming launch. So in this episode, I wanted to provide you with some quick and easy ways to actually use your podcast strategically during your launch process, whether that's for a product or a service. So let's jump into the episode. So number one, you want to center your episodes during launch week or your launch period, essentially, about things people would need to know before they work with you. So you want to give them pre-qualifiers for your upcoming product or service. This will prep your audience and your potential customers and inform them on everything they need to know before they pull out their credit card and buy your product or invest in your done-for-you service. So I have a launch coming up in September, and I will be using my other Podcast Manager Power Hour, to kind of give people insight on the things they need to know before investing in my bigger program for podcast agencies called Podcast Agency Accelerator. So if you want to see that in action, go check out my other podcast. The episodes will be going live like mid to late August, early September. But I can also share that with you here once it's live as well. But that's going to be happening in a couple of weeks. So if you're interested in seeing kind of what that looks like, go check it out. I will link it down below. I'll link the episodes down below, update it once it's available in case you're listening to this in the future. The second thing you want to do is use self-hosted ad segments to funnel people to your waitlist. So obviously I'm a huge proponent of promoting mostly free offers on your show. If you've been here for a while, you would know that. But if you've been providing your audience with amazing value, then there's nothing wrong with funneling people to your waitlist for a paid program or service. Usually waitlists get early access, they get some kind of discount or both. So keep that in mind, but this is really a great way to get your listeners further into your funnel and to potentially become a buyer of yours by getting on a waitlist when you are in your launch period. So yeah, those are my two main tips for using your podcast along with your upcoming product or service launch. But I'd love to know, have you used your podcast to promote a product or service launch before? What tactic worked best for you? Did you try anything different than what I mentioned? I'd love to know. It's always interesting to hear what people are doing to funnel people into their paid offerings. So head on over to Podcasting for Entrepreneurs on Instagram and let's chat about it. So that is it for today's quick little episode. If you want to check out the show notes for this episode, you can go to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com, and I will see you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast player like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Stitcher, and leave a review. You can find us at savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com and on Facebook at Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs and Instagram at Savvy Podcasting. Make sure to join our free Facebook community for podcasters by going to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com/community and join in on the exclusive community just for Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs listeners. I'll see you there.